Hey traders, in this video we're going to be looking at a live trade that I did on NIO this morning while live streaming. In addition to the pre-market game plan that I go over, make sure and pay attention to once the bell rings, the constant observing of QQQ and NIO and whether it's a bullish or bearish correlation. Once the live stream concludes, I'll hop back on here and we'll go over how the trade ended up playing out. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. As far as our growth names are concerned, we know they had a much weaker bounce overall comparative to big tech. So those names are looking at bear flags confirming. Tesla is confirming an hourly bear flag with a gap down open. NIO has an hourly bear flag confirming with a gap down open. So growth names were not positioned well for QQQ hourly consolidation, which didn't happen until extended hours, but they are seeing the gap downs as a result of that. So I'm going to be watching for hourly higher lows on QQQ and big tech. I'm going to be watching growth for oversold bounces. So that's going to be my top focus this morning. I am watching NIO for a bounce, and that's just because the 4-hour RSI is at historical bounce levels. If I go back and look at the past couple years, I can see that the 4-hour RSI definitely does get beat up, but it's bounced off of 19, 18, and then back here. My mouse can't get on there, but right in the teens. And so here we are on a second gap down open with the RSI at 19. So for me, that means scout a bounce play. So I'm watching NIO and what I want to see. So I know the hourly is beat up. I know the 4-hour is beat up, but the 5 and the 15-minute aren't. So there's two scenarios. We see an open and the bulls break up above 37.68 and get the hourly bounce going without short-term RSI levels getting crushed. But what I want to see and what my ideal bounce trade is I want to flush first thing. I want to see a dump under 37 psychological. Give me a 5 and 15-minute RSI level that's oversold in addition to the longer-term oversold RSI levels. And that's when I get a little bit more aggressive with my bounce style. So keeping an eye out for that. If I wanted to be real aggressive on NIO, I would make an initial entry playing off of 37.23. But growth names have had a bearish correlation to QQQ for the last 5 days, and I'm not just going to assume that that's going to change. So I'm not going to go aggressive on these bounce plays because that correlation has been bearish. The QQQ getting a big drop. 5-minute RSI is down in the 20s for QQQ. Making one initial entry on NIO here, and I will make one more in the 36.80s if we see another leg down. And again, on the bounce, when QQQ sees this 5-minute bounce, we have to see growth names correlate bullishly and see a stronger bounce. And so on QQQ, we're watching 363.70. We're still well above that level. So again, bulls are watching for a bounce play off of the low of yesterday's support, or playing off of the low of yesterday. Deja vu from yesterday morning, but this RSI is dropping a lot faster. It's at the same levels down in the teens, but it's on the first 5-minute candle. So QQQ bounce play on watch. Canadian MJ is already attempting some bounce here before QQQ even starts. CGC is 1% off the low almost. So I'm waiting just a little bit here. On NIO, I may have missed my second entry. Got down to the 36.80s there real quick. So if that happens, I'll stick with my one entry and that'll be fine. So again, watching to see, does growth set up with a bullish correlation comparative to QQQ when QQQ sees its 5-minute oversold bounce from here? XLF is holding the low of yesterday, so currently a daily inside bar. XLV is flat, so really it's just QQQ getting all the attention this morning. NIO, new high of the day. Where's NIO resistance? Should probably start looking at that. Gap filled back to the upside. Anything under 39.01 is just an hourly lower high. So 39.01 is a key resistance level. And again, going back bigger picture, if I want to establish a swing trade, this is using a day trade mindset to establish a swing position if I wanted to, which I'm not. But say I'm looking at this and saying, I want a monthly high or low on NIO. Right now, with the trade I've taken this morning, my break even on this position is right about 36 flat. So I can put my stop loss multiple percent under the low of today and just hope that that is our monthly high or low. Odds are, probability-wise, that I will stop out with zero risk. But if things significantly change for the growth sector over the next 2 weeks and a monthly high or low tries to shape up, I put myself in a no-risk scenario to potentially nail a monthly high or low. So again, probability favors stopping out, but it's giving yourself that opportunity. So using a short-term oversold bounce play to potentially position a swing trade. And again, I am not doing that. This is just an oversold bounce trade for me, but just a different trading style. So QQQ, right back down towards the low. And we can see NIO is not close to its low. So this is where growth needs to distinguish itself as stronger than QQQ, but it's not immune. If QQQ sees a new low of the day, it's definitely going to hurt growth bounces. So we need to see QQQ hold the low of the day and try and change the 5-minute trend, or at least trade sideways to allow growth bulls to try and hold on to these gains. A new low of the day on QQQ. We're still watching that low of yesterday, which is down at 363.70. So here's a scenario where NIO is trying to make it back to the high of the day on QQQ's little bounce. Definitely a bullish correlation. But I don't have a ton of confidence just because I'm not seeing the entire growth space with a bullish correlation. Well, I guess you could say, the fact that XBI didn't get close to the low of the day when QQQ just saw a new low. PLTR, same thing. So there is bullish correlation in a good number of growth names. PLTR's 5-minute consolidation is healthy. NIO did just fail the high of the day. That stands out to me. If we drop down and break 37.75, it'll be a 2-minute confirmed downtrend. So just a quick recap, I made my initial entry just above 37. I did not make my second entry in the 36.80s. It dipped down too quick for me. And that just looks back to me being live streaming and answering questions. I'm not as good a trader as when I'm only focused on a couple things and I'm zoned in. So I use larger positions when I'm trading, when I'm not talking and live streaming, because I'm more focused. So definitely let that second great entry go. And that's okay, because I was not in ideal scenarios as far as my ideal trading environment. So I ended up taking half of my position off at 38, selling into the initial strength. That then puts my break even down at 36. And at that point, I can't lose on this trade. So I did get faked out a little bit where we had a high of the day rejection, came back, set a support level down at 37.67, double topped, and I got stopped out because at that point I put my stop under 37.67, saying that, if we double top and then lose that short-term support, I know we're in an hourly downtrend. I know we just bounced over 3% in 30 minutes. I'm playing counter trend, and I want to keep my gains and not just fade back down to the low of the day. QQQ also wasn't giving us a whole bunch of confidence at that point in time. So at that point, I had exited the trade with my average, let's just say it was 37 teens, and my exit average was probably 37.80 or so. So a decent trade, but from there, I want to highlight the next trade that I took on it because right when I ended live streaming, I saw a setup that I liked. So at that point in time, this is what the setup was, and I was watching the 2-minute time frame. And I was watching a double top at the high of the day, a pullback, and I said, all right, well, that's a 15-minute high or low. And then we went right back to the high of the day. And we initially rejected by 7 cents, and that had me thinking, okay, I might have exited too early. So right after the live stream, I said NIO trying for a 2-minute bull flag just under high of the day. And that's right here. Here's your 2-minute bull flag. I said that at 10:33, and it's a cup and handle setup. Left side of resistance, there's your cup, the inability to break it, and then a bull flag, knowing that all three resistances are stacked up right next to each other. And if we take out those resistances, we're looking for follow through. So I got back in at 38 on this consolidation, and I would have put my stop under 37.90 because if we had rejected more than that, it would have been a 5-minute equilibrium at that point. So pretty much 37.90 needs to hold, or it's not going to be a 2-minute bull flag. And it was a 5-minute cup and handle setup. I meant to say 2-minute, but we then got the follow through. And at that point, I exited half of my position from 38 to 38.20s. So again, right back in full control, stop well under the low here with no risk, and then exited the second half of my position when we lost the pattern of a higher low every 2-minute candle. I just used that as my guide because I was leaving midday for an appointment and wanted to lock in that second win. But the point of that second trade is, how much higher did I re-enter? I stopped out at 37.60 and I rebought over 1% higher. So again, a confident, experienced trader has no problem rebuying in higher if the setup is different at that point in time and if the risk and reward profile of the trade is more favorable. So that is what that was, entering 1% higher, but also tacking on another 1.5% on that trade and pretty much matching the gains of my initial trade. So from there, I didn't trade NIO much, a whole lot more. And here we are now setting an hourly higher low, trying to set up an hourly trend change. We got the low of the day, high of the day, hourly higher low, but QQQ is still struggling and the bears have had a solid day in the market today. So I'm done with it for today and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Hope this was insightful. Feel free to ask any questions.